All right, so it's 5 o'clock now. We'll wait another minute or two and then wait for everybody to gather in, and then we'll start this thing off.
Do we know if Leo is going to make it today? Has he mentioned anything? Okay. Yeah, I just had some questions on his questions from Andrew's proposal. So
I just sent him a message, so we'll see. But like less than an hour ago, we were chatting. So
What's up, Blue Lights? Should we just dive into this, guys?
Leo's logging
let's.
on in just a moment. But we can probably get started. Yeah, no problem.
All right, yeah, he's probably heard the beginning pitch to this millions of times now. All right, welcome everyone to our 18th TAN Council reoccurring meeting. For today's meeting, we will begin with a brief recap of last week's action items and their progress, then dive into our latest TAN IP1 data analysis with insights from both Andrew and Knop's comprehensive spreadsheets. Following the data review, we'll discuss two critical proposals currently under community consideration: TAN IP2's multi-tiered reward distribution system and the TAN IP1 companion proposal for an external missions dashboard. We'll conclude with our usual open discussion and Q&A session. As always, let's start with an overview of the TAN Council and the purpose of these reoccurring meetings. These reoccurring meetings serve 5 critical functions. They provide transparency to our community. They create a structured forum for proposal discussions, enabling authors to present to the council and community and to discuss, debate, and refine for formal proposal and voting with consensus. They enable regular platform updates, and they ensure consistent communication amongst council members. And finally, they allow direct community engagement through question and answer sessions. The TAN Council is a local governance organization within the Telcoin platform. Together, we serve as a provider and administrator of collective goods and services within the jurisdictional domain of the Telcoin application network. The TAN Council, with our 6 members, makes decisions related to TAN improvements and policies through the TAN IP process. We need 5 out of 6 votes to approve proposals within a 120-hour voting period. Our primary duties are to advocate TEL issuance on TAN for stakers and developers to harvest, and plan and finance the development of the Telcoin application network. Our key responsibilities include reviewing and voting on snapshot proposals, attending these biweekly meetings, providing regular community updates, monitoring TAN systems, and enforcing operational rules. We'll use Discord for day-to-day communication, the forum for the informal proposal discussions, these recurring council meetings for proposal discussions, deliberation, and refinement, and snapshot for formal voting. Overall, the TAN Council has authority over miner harvesting and planning and financing TAN infrastructure. Last week's action items recap. Let's quickly review the key action items from our previous meeting and the current status. TAN IP1 data analysis is complete. Period 25 data shows critical trends requiring immediate discussion. Storm marketing partnership is it still in progress? Discussions are ongoing regarding TAN IP1 integration possibilities. Blue Light's external missions dashboard is still under review. MVP approach evaluation continues with new urgency given declining wallet metrics. Community spreadsheet access is complete. Andrew's wallet tracking functionality is now available. On-chain analysis is still ongoing. Continued monitoring of coordinated wallet activity patterns. Andrew and NOP have once again provided exceptional analysis of our TAN-IP1 performance metrics. The data from period 24, which ended August 6th, reveals critical trends that directly impact our upcoming proposal discussions. I don't know if we want to jump in, if we want them to jump on and give their analysis of
Just a
what we.
small clarification. This was this week's, not August 6th. That was a typo on the agenda. My fault.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
But I'm not Nopus here, so if he wants to speak, he certainly can. I know Andrew's on vacation though, so I don't know if he'll be joining.
Is he? I thought I saw him on here.
Can you see properly my?
Yes, sir. We see it.
Great, cool. So let's quickly review first last week's numbers before diving into this week's. So last week, the reward index was around 1. 15 addresses were not taking any TEL, meaning they couldn't receive any rewards, resulting in a missed gain of 47,000 TEL. We had 2 friend pairs who captured 1.1 million in rewards. It's about 1/3 of the total rewards. And there in blue, we've got our champ, who took home 740,000 without trading, simply thanks to his 6 referrals. Altogether, that group collected nearly 1.5 million in rewards, so almost half of the total. The remaining addresses shared just 600,000 TEL. This week, the reward index dropped to 0.87, and if it stays below 1 for a few weeks, we will need to see whether this friends pair continue their little game, as they could be at a big loss when it's the reward index is below 1. This week, we had 3 friend pairs, and just want to say that there are more friend pairs, but I am only counting those who gained over 100,000 TEL. And altogether, they captured 1.3 million TEL. Additionally, the referral champion earned 640,000 TEL, again without trading. And this small group altogether took in 1.3 million TEL. So that once again leaves around 600,000 TEL for the rest of the users, or maybe not this time, because this time a little over 110,000 TEL couldn't be distributed, leaving just under 500,000 TEL for the others. So let's come back to this 110,000 unclaimed rewards. First, we had 12 addresses which didn't stake any TEL, resulting in 90,000 loss. 5 of them are repeated offenders, and 3 addresses used to this one used to stake, but for the first or the second time did not. Then we had 3 others addresses which are missing rewards for the first time, or the second or the third time, but they are kind of new. And finally, we've got 5 more addresses which didn't stake enough TEL to receive their full rewards, accounting for another 20,000 TEL. So in conclusion, as I said 2 weeks ago, share your referral code to your friends, to anyone you can, talk to the app, and maybe you can be like the blue champ, earn a passive income. And just the last thing, we already talked about it, but we have to rethink about what Andrew said. We should find a way, or ask any dev to get a pop-up in the app after each distribution announcing rewards earned via the TAN IP1, or to pop up in order to inform the users that they missed rewards. Any question?
What would you change?
I don't know if it's really honest, but I think the maximum you can earn is the maximum you stake, but maybe the maximum you can earn should be 1/10, I don't know, or just 5% of what you staked. In fact, you have to stake more than what you can earn actually, or just to say you can't earn more than 100,000. I don't know. It's just like, as I just said, like there are 11 or 12 addresses, and they take like 70-80% of the total amount. So sure, there is a glitch in there. So we have to find a way to redistribute it differently.
Do you see that case with the what is it, 6 referees who are earning a load of rewards?
Yeah.
Do you see that as an issue? Do you see that as an attack?
On one end, I think it's fair. The guy just has 3 referrals, 6 referrals, and we can imagine that they are trading via the app, and thanks to them is earning a lot. So that's what we want.
Yeah.
You know, I've got like 15 referrals myself, but they don't earn me a lot because I'm pushing them to use the app. So I don't want to trade. I just want to hold my tail. So so I can't do anything for that. So I'm not earning a lot thanks to my referrals. But what bothers me in this situation is, as we already said, the amount is almost the same. They are doing the trade all in the same time for the same amount. So maybe the blue one is just a group, maybe as a WhatsApp with his friend, and said, okay, now you sell, now you can buy again, now you sell. I don't know. But what bothers me is that the blue address is sending TEL to the 6 others because he's earning a lot of TEL thanks to them. So he's giving back some money. So I really don't know what to really think. I really hope that once the Telcoin network is finally on and Remittance is on the network, etc., this kind of volume will be too small and won't catch a lot of rewards. But we don't know, as the Telcoin network is not live yet for us. We can't know.
Yeah.
What's your opinion?
No, I do agree, and it is weird, this kind of wash trading term. It's like, do we want to be deciding what counts as wash trading? Do we want to bake that into the kind of algorithm basically to figure out rewards? Or because that seems to be like the main thing people take offense from. So yeah, it is just kind of tricky figuring out what we want to incentivize and what we don't.
Hey, Leo.
And where you draw the line. Yeah.
Hey, in one of the questions that you posed back against Andrew's proposal, the recent one,
Mhm.
you mentioned in question number 2, there's a line that you put in here. It says, "I believe remittance users would push out the wash trading under the current regime once full remittance pipelines are in place, and that's mostly dependent on stable coins and bank access." I know we
Mhm.
don't have a lot of insight there, but do we have any estimations that maybe we could talk? You know, you know, whether it's a private meeting and for the TAN council to see what that type of impact or proposed impact could have on said wash trading that we're discussing.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I don't have the numbers, but just kind of almost like back of the envelope or even before
Sure.
that. It's
Yep.
just the general idea behind that statement is when you get people and an expected large number of people trading essentially via remittances, so you know, quote unquote functional trades, um, that will produce a lot of volume that is relatively price insensitive in a way.
Mhm.
And the more volume that produces, the higher the pro rata share of those kinds of transactions, which means anyone kind of washing um, would have to compete with that value, which, you know, it's them against the masses suddenly. And
Right.
it's very unlikely they would be able to get any meaningful proportion of that larger sum. So that's where I was coming from with that, basically.
Sure, yeah. And then maybe we just do some if thens, right?
Yeah.
If we see this kind of volume, what impact would it have? You know, mathematically, we see if it does take care of it, maybe we can work with Nop and Andrew, who kind of critique these numbers all the time, and see where that lands and see what the impact on the current reward system is.
Yeah. I mean, in some regards as well, like I part of me doesn't want to kind of have to wait for that moment as well.
Yeah,
So
sure.
it's kind of meeting the balance between, do we expect a change and are we relying on that change, versus let's try and kind of optimize for the position we're in now and essentially spend a load of resources on changing changing what we currently have to fit the current circumstance.
Yeah.
So I think that's the kind of balance we need to kind of find. Maybe I said something controversial. We got 2 hands up, but
No, not really
um,
controversial. I think
yeah,
um, I guess the way that I'm looking at this just from the lens is that the if we look at the trend, right? If we look at what's been occurring, active wallets, meaning wallets that are staking, continue to go down week over week, right? And I definitely agree with the sentiment of what, like you said, Leo. But the question really becomes is we don't know necessarily when that occurs, and right now we're spending a large sum of our budget in that is only really benefiting a few wallets. And I think that's really where, even if we made a change, if it needed to be a temporary until the full network was live or whatever we decided, um, to incentivize new wallets or staking or what have you activity, that's really depending on what the goal, I suppose, is. And I'm not sure, again, how difficult that would be of changing just the way that the everything's written and how we enter that. But I mean, the I think the concerning thing for me is that we've got 80% plus of the total pool is going towards a handful of people that are um, and I posted a screenshot in the Discord channel. They're essentially just copy trading Tel back to USDC back and forth a bunch of times, and that's how they're generating their volume. And again, right, there's nothing illegal. I totally understand that, but I think it does turn people away from thinking, oh, this is even worth me even participating in, because it's so there's no way I'm going to compete with that. And I think that's the part that we need to look at addressing, either
Yeah,
on a
even
short term basis.
yeah, even from a personal perspective, I've been staking since the inception of the program, and degradation and rewards for me has been pretty massive. Like from when it started until now, I would say I'm getting 25% of the rewards I was when the program started, and that's at a very, very solid number of referrals.
Right. Well, and I think,
You know,
Steve, to your point, that's not because of more people doing it either, and that's, I think, the part that's concerning, right?
Right, and that's my point, right? It's still this group of particular wallets that are reaping the rewards, whether it's profitable or not. We can argue that too. And if it's not profitable, it's just out of sheer use, or what, I don't know what their motivation is, if it's not a profitable end result of all this wash trading and reaping these benefits. So I don't know where that lands, but yeah, I think it's definitely a point of contention and something we have to take into account, how to motivate more people to get on to balance all of this out in the first place.
Ty has his hand up, unless we wanted to. Anybody else had a comment on that? Yeah, go ahead, Ty. Do it.
Hi guys. Yeah, I mean the whole aspect of wash trading is because it's a profitable endeavor for them. And it's a profitable endeavor because they're getting a share of a larger pot. And the pot is over 3 million tel every week. So the proposal that's out there at the moment to tier off different behaviors, so only make a portion of the available tel for trading activities, a smaller portion for the ones that have been long-term stakers, a portion for the people that bring on new referees. So if the available tel for trading was reduced, then the wash trading aspect wouldn't be as profitable, because as well as paying fees, there is still a small loss incurred on every trade because of the spreads involved. And so at some point, if you, for instance, half the amount of tel available, make it 1.5 million for those that are trading, then okay, you will affect the small percentage that are genuinely trading and still getting a reward, but you would disincentivize the batches of wash trading that's going on. It becomes less profitable, and at some point, the rewards index on a smaller amount of tel would reduce to the point where it becomes a loss-making exercise. And as soon as it hits loss or close to loss, then the behavior stops, because there's no point in wash trading. It's pointless. You don't trade to lose money. You trade to make a profit. And so I think if we reduce the pot available for the trading rewards, then that may discourage these big parties for doing the wash trading.
I think I'd agree with you if the trading fees and spreads were fixed, but they're a percentage, right? I don't think it will actually change much. You'll probably get the same distribution.
You will. I definitely, yeah. I think really the question comes down to, for me, is that if is this how it is structured, encourage, is what is our primary objective, right? Is it volume, or is it new wallets? Because I think how this is structured and what we're doing, right, in the short term, until, like you said, Leo, it will be volume based, strictly on that. And I think there's a lot of, it's hard to incentivize people to want to participate in this, right? And I think
Yeah.
that's really my main concern, is that what are we doing to I'd even, the other thing that we can't really see with any of these metrics is how much of this is like a deposit into a trading for TEL versus actually trading in the platform. We don't know. And I like, the reason I liked Andrew's proposal was because it has you competing against like for like. Newer users are competing against newer users, right? And as you gain more rewards, you go up a tier.
Hmm. Yeah.
So you know,
I think
something
it's
to think
yeah.
about. That's all.
Yeah. No, it's interesting to we need to separate the volume. Incentivizing volume does, in essence, incentivize washing. So how do we separate those
Right.
incentives? And I think Andrew does make some good points about, I think some of those methods do have potential for doing that. And yeah, I would like to explore them, kind of thing. The one thing I like, my questions may have come across as like harsh in a way, but I kind of I wanted to kind of chisel away at them and get to essentially like what we need is equations that we can give Marcus or whoever to bake into the calculation, and then um, we just need to provide him with the spec, and then he goes and implements it. And the more
Sure.
we can narrow that down, the better. So it's just kind of how exactly will it work, and what exact kind of variables are we trying to look for, and then what is essentially the equation that's going to spit out how many rewards someone earns.
Right.
I think they are decent points, and yeah, in terms of like tranching and stuff, that can become kind of complicated. But as long as we can,
Can,
yeah, go on.
can I just, a wash trade is
Mm,
quite easy to identify.
mm,
It's TEL to USD or another stable, and then immediately flipped back to TEL. So there's two things you can identify: the pair being traded and the time between the next trade. And
yeah,
if they so a wash trade is a really simple thing to identify, I think. So if you exclude, if you somehow exclude, I don't know how you would do it though, but you can identify what a wash trade is because you can see it on these, if you do an analysis of these accounts.
but I mean that's just in the most naive sense, right? And as soon as you block that off, then someone goes tell to
Right.
USDC to USDT to tell, and then you're
Yeah,
scuppered.
yeah. No, no.
Or,
No, and
or
I think you're
leave
right.
5 minutes in between, and yeah,
Right.
it's
Yeah, we don't
hard
want
to
to do
police
that
that.
because
Yeah,
that limits volume, like, 100%. I think yeah, like you said, Andrew's proposal is interesting because you are these smaller wallet that are smaller. I as these larger wallets continue to do what they're doing, right? They have to have a minimum TEL stake, so they're going to have more and more and more and more liquidity, quote unquote, to use to generate fees. And with that, it becomes very difficult for newer wallets to compete with that, right? So I do like the idea of buckets where you're competing. Think of it like age groups for like a marathon, right? Similar to that.
yeah, and the buckets are just based on stake, basically.
It would be age of wallet. So,
Oh, okay,
whether
yeah,
it's we decide what that time frame is, right? Because again,
yeah,
9 times out of 10, and in that way, you're not limiting people's ability to do their trading or their wash trading.
hmm,
We don't want to limit trading, but all that does is make it more competitive for
yeah,
people to compete against. If I'm brand new and I'm downloading the Telcoin app and doing this, I'm going to have a lot more bigger chance of getting a reward base than I would if I'm competing against somebody that has been doing this and has not 9 or 10 million Telcoin that they're using to wash trade and generate fees. So it's just
Yeah, and
mm,
that's the nice part about Andrew's proposal here is that it is buckets, right? And he's not completely penalizing volume-based rewards, right? It's still there, and it's a good portion of the weekly rewards that are available. So, but what he's doing, or what he's proposing to do, is bust off chunks for other participants that maybe aren't, new users, or how long you've been staked. For holders, like Not mentioned, he's not doing a lot of trading. He's just holding him and hoping that his
What are you
referrals
doing?
are doing the trading. So,
What are you doing?
and then
Hi.
gamification. I mean, that's another
Yeah.
chunk. So I really like
Hi.
the idea of doing so. Just to Leo's point, it's we need the math and what we're looking for and
Yeah.
how to solve for it.
I can
That's
work up
quite
a
cool
few
though. That's yeah.
calculations that I had played with a while ago. Again, by no means do I have the most advanced knowledge, but I was running them by somebody that has some good dev experience, and at least, or maybe Ari can assist us and I can pick his brain. I think we have a good basis, and at least can come up with some thoughts.
You could have
Yeah.
buckets on rewards claimed as well.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
I
There's a
think
lot of different options, but we don't want to limit. I'm not advocating for limiting or stopping the wash trading, because that's network transactions. That is volume is something we do want. But by sectioning off what pool you're competing against, it makes it a little bit more achievable.
Yeah, I think the limiting wash trading is just a very difficult thing to define, basically. So,
Right.
yeah.
and then, but I like, yeah, this is basically bringing in the idea of wallet age, or like staker age. It basically brings in another variable which isn't gameable, which is kind of cool. So I quite like that, and that should be quite easy to bake into the calculation, because there's an on-chain signature of the first time a wallet has staked. So I think there is good potential there. I think we can come up with a nice equation, basically.
Has
It would be
anyone
good.
has anyone checked if their wash trading was profitable? Because as Tai said, if you want to swap TEL to USDC and immediately back USDC to TEL, you're losing twice 0.5% of what you are trading. So each time you are losing a lot. And when I look at the numbers, and they are doing like more than 100,000 in fees. I mean, they lost this amount, just for wash trading. So when the reward index is below 1, it's if they are really doing immediate swap, they are losing money for sure, because
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. I mean, if it's not for profit, I mean, what is the incentive if they're losing money at the end of the day? Like if you bake the entire week of wash trading in, and we look at the rewards earned, and then the fees paid. I mean, if it's close to a wash, or I just don't understand the the activity and what the
I
outcome should be.
I think is the fee 0.5 or 0.1%? I'm not sure.
0.5 tie.
0.5, okay. But when you look at the issuance spreadsheet every week, excuse me, the fees paid, you get effectively double the rewards, because the staker gets rewards and the referrer gets rewards. So I think it's still profitable until it goes down to 0.5 rather than 0.1. Is that not? So if the reward index is under 1, it's still profitable until it goes down to 0.5.
in fact, it depends how much the blue or anyone has staked first, because if he has staked a lot, he can take on one end 34 or 36% of the fees for this trading. So that's why maybe they are not at loss yet. But if more users are just trading or wash trading, and we can see more volume. I mean, if we've got sticker fees which are superior than 3.2 million, for sure they will be at loss. But for now, each time we've got referee fees or sticker fees which are here it's around 1.7, last week 1.4, 1.6, 1.5, 1.5. So for now, the sticker fees plus the referee fees is around 3.2, but the referee fees and sticker fees can count twice or sometimes more. So it's really hard to see. We just want to have sticker fees which are above 3.2 million, and there the reward index will for sure be way below 1, and all the wash traders will be at loss. Do you agree?
Sorry, was that? I got a bit lost in the logic there. But yeah, I mean, I was just saying that if you were looking at the groups, then as a group, they are getting profit from the staker and referrer. I mean, okay, that when you look at that group of 7, where you've got your master account and then 6 referees that are wash trading, then the master account's not doing any trading, but he's getting half the rewards.
Hey, Nop, can you share your sheet one more time? Because I think you have a really good comparison there, that where you add up the fees versus what all the wallets earned. I think that'd be good to look at for this conversation.
Which one are you talking about?
Just your sheet, the current month. I switched to Andrew's sheet really quick. If you could reshare yours, that'd be great.
I have to redo it. Okay.
Perfect. All right. So like, if we look at this, right, the total fees, right? So we're looking at the staker fees right here. Total fees paid. I'm specifically looking at the bottom box, right? So the blue box. So the total fee, now correct me if I'm wrong, the total fees paid for that grouping was 639,000, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And they made 1.3 million. So they still are making a significant amount more than they're paying in fees as a group, right? A cumulative group. And that's because of you, it's a 1-for-1. You earn, like these wallets that are doing the actual trading, they're earning that amount, right? But so is their referee wallet. So it's doubled essentially. So yes, they spent 639K in in trading fees, but they made 1.3 million. So I think that's just how the calculation works, right? It's a 1-for-1. The only way that stops is if you hit that cap or you have somebody else doing more than you. So they're doubling up their cost. So it's actually very lucrative from that perspective if you think about it.
Sure, and that's the reason why the master account is sending Tel to his 6 friends.
Right. Yep.
Because as they are, for the first one, he paid 113, he only received 102, so he's at loss. And on top of that, the master account, on top of the 639,000 he get, he had one, I imagine, is touching like 34, 36% of the 100 each time. So he's got 200,000 more on top of that.
So if you look at the transactions, you can tell they're working in tandem or in they're working together in one way, shape, or form. So I mean, I understand, right? People were looking at the 639K earned or spent versus the 639K at the master wallet. But realistically, this process is earning somebody or a group of people double what they're spending. So I think that's a very important distinction of why we're bringing this up, right?
Yeah, but yeah, I totally agree, and that was the point I was making about the double benefit. But don't forget, there is, as somebody mentioned earlier,
Yeah,
the
there's going to
loss,
be
the loss
slippage
of
loss.
the
Yep.
head. Yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
absolutely. But I still think,
yeah.
600.
But that's not significant. But
Right.
so that was the point I was making, is that if you look at an individual wallet, yes, if it falls below the reward index of 1, then they collectively are losing. But if you look at the group as a whole, it needs to go down to 0.5 or 0.6 because you've got other fees, other rewards coming in
Right.
from the. So yeah, so that was so it's still lucrative. A reward index of 0.8 or a reward index of 0.75 is still profitable for the group as a whole to do.
Very much
It
so.
needs
Yeah.
yeah, it needs to go down to 0.6 or 0.5, I think. That was the point
So
I
I
was
think
making.
that's when we look at it in the light of what's being spent by a group versus what they're making collectively, that is where I think we need to make some changes to not stop that behavior, but not make it so off-putting for anybody else that's coming in to do so, if that makes sense.
What if you cap rewards at half your fees?
Like the referrer only gets half of what you make for your fees, type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would solve the
And
issue.
then that gives you a maximum. So your maximum, basically, your best case scenario is your fees are covered. So you trade for free is the
Right.
best case.
Well, yes and no. I mean, again, the pool size will still matter. There's going to be, if you go above 1, then yes, you will be making more than you spent, which, okay, fine. But you're right. What this does, in a way, and we'd have to run some scenarios, if your referee only got half of what you spent in referee fees, or maybe again, we'd have to look at the logic behind it and what makes sense. But that's really, I think you're hitting the nail on the head. Is it's more about how the referee, the person doing the trading versus the person receiving the exact same amount of trading fees that they are generating, right? So that logic might be the part where we need to put our heads together and put some math behind it and run some scenarios and see what would make sense.
Yeah, sure. That sounds fun.
Okay. What's next on our agenda?
Oh, I was going to mention quickly about the bucketing in terms of time for the stakers. Putting them into tiers and stuff. You with me?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I was thinking it might be neater if we probably don't even need to discretize that. We can probably just have time as a constant there, as a just individual variable in a function, and we don't need to group people together. So it'll just be probably like a inversely proportional to how long a wallet has been staked for, something like
Right.
that.
Yeah,
Might be cleaner,
yeah,
and
that's
then
a
it
great
just
idea.
becomes like a coefficient.
Yeah,
But
I like that.
something to discuss further. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's a good idea.
Cool.
That solves a lot of the, troubles of coding that into the calculation. So yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I think so. I think that'd be neat. It would take a bit of kind of tuning later on, but I think that would be fine as well. We can play around with those parameters once we've got an idea of what we want to, which variables we're considering, basically.
Sounds great. Yeah, if anybody has any ideas, I know Ari had sent me some that a while back, and I can look at those too, and I'll pick his brain a bit. But if anybody wants to help put some work into this, it'd be appreciated. We can
Yeah,
try
that'd
to
be cool. I can
game.
imagine Ari having some good ideas there.
Yeah, yeah. We can try and yeah. My goal, I just want to make it more so that more people want to do it. That it's achievable. It
Yeah.
feels achievable, right? And you know, it kind of goes hand in hand with the gamification stuff. So
Yeah, true. Nice.
So I think the only thing we have left to talk about is the external missions dashboard. Is that? Am I missing something?
no, I think you're. We've been kind of jumping around, but I think you're. Yeah, you're.
Yeah.
That's next for sure. So has anybody had a chance to play around with it with Blue Light's website?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I created an account and I went through the steps and whatnot, got some badges and whatnot. And I think it's a great, you know, especially for starters into the new space. I think it's a great starting, platform, and it
yeah,
looks
same
cool.
here. Just like Liberty, I've created an account. I've talked to Blue Lights quite extensively on as he's been developing this and expanding what he's been able to push out there. So I was on here earlier while we were just getting into the meeting, and it's even expanded since I've been on last time. So he's constantly iterating and putting in more work into it. It's a nice platform. I would be interested if we could track performance, blue lights, like if you have user data, like how many times they're logging on. If we could start tracking some metrics going forward on this platform and seeing if it would be a good fit um, on what we want to try to do as the council here.
Yeah, so I've been working a lot in the background of the site, a lot for SEO, but also I have just added Microsoft Clarity, which is why you now get a cookie pop up at the beginning and asking you for authorization to either use Essential or Full. Not many people have done Full yet, but if they do Full, then I get to see a lot of data, heat maps, and see what people are doing on the site and collecting a bit of data that way. So I'm kind of leaning into that to try and refine it a bit more to get a little bit of stuff. I mean, the game section is pretty good now. That's the last, the first one there on the left. Yeah, Am I Alone one. If you go into that one, enter in there, you then see the Telcoin planet. So, I've just been basically building. It's been a little bit crazy because I've just kind of been doing what I think to test and see what will work and see what people like. So the learning games are pretty good. The Telcoin planet on there as well. You learn about the scrolls of each section of Telcoin, and then you can also, when you complete the planet, you can go and claim a mission as well for completing it and earn XP. So I'm just really toying with everything, but I'm definitely working more now on trying to gather data or building a bit more sort of analytics to try and get some information out there so I can feed it to you guys as well.
It's awesome. Any other thoughts? I mean, I guess we've kind of talked about this. I'm just curious about what people's thoughts are again. From a pool perspective versus, there's a lot of different things because this can essentially do all the things we're talking about with the other program also, right? Like increasing volume, increasing wallet count, all those different things. So I'm curious what people's thoughts are.
I'd be curious to know if I may have mentioned this before to Nick, but if there is any way of basically having one of those either missions or games or something kind of essentially sponsored by us. Maybe licenses and stuff becomes a bit complicated then. But just as a little MVP kind of scenario, because it seems like the alternative is just building this out for ourselves from scratch, which you have provided a quote for, but it's a bit of a leap for us, like 0 to 1 kind of thing. When is there like a intermediate step we can take to kind of figure out if this is right for the town council.
Well,
and
Leo,
what we're
that
trying to achieve.
that quote was for a third party that Nick had worked with before.
Yeah.
So this isn't necessarily his platform, but it was somebody kind of developing something specific. So I think Nick's platform is that intermediary that we could really explore.
Yeah.
You know, I know we talked legalities last council meeting, you know, just getting things in place so everyone's protected or whatnot, but and you know, and I don't know if incentivizing Blue Lights to keep working on this, or like you said, sponsoring a portion of it makes sense. But yeah, that I think we're on the right path. I think it's a great platform.
Yeah, and it seemed like from a data perspective anyway, because a lot of this is on-chain data, that made things easier. It's kind of public rather than proprietary in a lot of cases. So something like that, I think, just to kind of bridge the gap, rather than having to go full blown build it from scratch. I'd be very interested in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick and I talked a little bit about it offline too, about what that would look like. You know, again, I know there's a lot of things to work out about, you know, the base structure and everything else like that. Or to your point, Leo, what we'd be able to do from a temporary hosting perspective, like a 1 month contest, right? And then see how it's received, type of thing. So
Yeah,
I think there's some options out there.
I was really kind of trying to target a kind of win-win scenario where we can drive more users to blue chips and we can get interesting data about, is this something that would be of use to us to kind of scale up?
Right, and we could even, you know, have a leaderboard winner prize or something, you know, sponsor a prize or something else like that and send people to it, type of thing. To one, it gets his site more traffic, and two, gets an idea of how people like it and get some feedback from the community. I think it'd be easy for us to push that. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like I said to BZ and to Steve, I'm happy. I'm just waiting to get the council stuff all sorted, but I'm happy to jump in a couple of meetings and a meeting and have a discussion about it and see what we can come up with, and then see how we could actually do it. You know,
that'd be awesome. Would love to. Also, you did pass KYM earlier today, so congratulations. We'll have a few more documents for you to sign, and I'll send them your way soon.
Welcome,
morning,
Nick.
And then
almost there. I've got my toe in the door.
Congrats, the toe is in the door. It's a big one. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, but yeah, I'll send those over tomorrow morning. So you'll be official in no time. Yeah,
sounds good. Yeah, and then like I said, we'll jump on and have a talk about this idea and see what we can hash out.
Sounds great. Nice. Excited for that.
Great. I think that is the last agenda piece. Let me check the stream and make sure we didn't have any questions come through. One moment. No, just some comments about running competitions or game nights. The community thinks that would be really cool. People saying that they love the site and the idea of it. That's my son. Sorry. Not every, and then the comment from earlier. Not everyone has the reach but still wants to be a part of incentives and growing the community. So this is another area to do that also.
Awesome.
It's a lot of positive comments about Blue Lights. So the blue chips, the website.
Lovely. How many viewers did we get today?
Just about 800, and I didn't have a chance to get with Storm for a promo tweet. I've got an idea for some scheduled ones, so we can make that push a little bit further. But actually a little bit more than that. We're closer to 1,000. So
awesome.
Good coverage.
Okay. Nice. Thank you. Didn't get Gemini working this time.
No, I think I can see it, but I have to look at. I can't enable it. I think I might have to change the way that the invites are made. I'm gonna look a little bit more into it. It's definitely there because I can see it if you go to our council Google site where it has all the apps. You can see Gemini now, but I'm not sure how to enable it on the stream, so I'm gonna work on that next.
Okay, cool. Figure that out. Lovely.
Perfect. Any other questions or anything we need to go over? Anybody from the stream or anything else?
Yeah, I think that's probably it.
Thanks. Lovely. Thank you very much. And thanks, Liberty, for leading.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks everybody. We'll see you in 2 weeks. And then next week we have the Telex Council on Wednesday, and then the Platform and Treasury Council on Thursday. So stay tuned for those.
Lovely stuff. Cheers.
Cheers,
All
everyone.
right, we'll see you guys.
Thank you. Good night.